Another week of Married at First Sight. Our couples hit their 1 month anniversary, and let's dive into each of the couples and go over everything that's going on. First off, I want to start with Olivia and Brett. They have hit kind of a rough patch in their relationship, and really, I'd say out of all the couples today, they felt like the only one that took major steps backwards, while I got the feeling that the other couples were mostly taking steps forward today. And Olivia and Brett, I did not get that vibe. They had the meeting with Pastor Cal, and Olivia basically just said to him, you know what, Brett is just full of BS. And you know what, she's right. And you can just hear the way that he talks to her, and anything that she says, he tries to flip it around on her. It's very, in my opinion, toxic behavior just in general. When she says, hey, when you're being so sarcastic on camera, it comes across as very disingenuous. And he immediately tried to flip that around on her, basically kind of attacking her for how she gets mean in some of those conversations. And trying to put the blame for things on Olivia, and just in general, that's just very unhealthy behavior. And there were multiple little instances today, especially in that conversation with Pastor Cal, where Brett just constantly kept trying to flip everything Olivia said back onto her to try to put the blame on her. And yeah, he's just gotta go. And even after that, when they're having the moment where they kind of got to watch their wedding video over again, you could just see that Brett's body language, he was checked out. He, in my opinion, has checked out of that relationship, and things are not looking good. You looked like Olivia was, kind of reinvigorated by seeing those memories, while Brett was really just trying to force it and get through that moment. So in the preview, it looked like things took a pretty nasty turn for their couple. So yeah, I've never had any optimism for this pair all season long, and I think I have even less after tonight. Let's go to Amani and Woody next. Woody has moments where he's just a little bit too much, a little bit too focused on just being a pretty couple. But overall, I just really like them together. Like, I don't know what it is. It's almost how Amani is able to handle everything that Woody is doing that really makes them good together. He does go over the top on a lot of things. Even you look at the gifts for the 1 month anniversary, like he really wanted to spoil his wife, which I'm not saying is a bad thing in any way, shape, or form, but that is really his personality, to just go big. Even when they're talking about the budget today, he wants to have an excessive budget for date night and shopping. Those kind of things are very important to him, and in some respects, they come off as a little bit shallow of items. Amani's sitting there saying, hey, we don't have to spend $150 to go on a date every week. It's fine for us to just go to the movies, or it's fine for us to just stay in and have a nice meal together. In my opinion, she's a lot more realistic just about everything. And Woody, on the other hand, is just very extravagant and over the top. Overall, I still think it was a good week for Woody and Amani. I feel like at least Amani grew a lot closer to Woody through everything this week, whether it was, that revisiting of the wedding or the 1 month anniversary gift. Just overall, very good for them. Next up, let's go to Amelia and Bennett. How about that? They dropped some L-bombs, they said I love you, and they're just as cute as ever. One thing I found interesting, which is actually part of the preview for them, was they were trying to frame everything in the preview as very negative things, and the negativity for Amelia and Bennett was will Bennett move with her? Not, it's something we've been talking about all season long, but not like an actual problem that has freshly arisen for the couple. Meanwhile, all the other couples looked like they were going through pretty serious issues. And here we have Amelia and Bennett. They're just like, are you gonna move when she has to move? Like that's it. Like that's the big road bump for them. And I really hope that Bennett does decide to say yes whenever that time comes. But overall, huge step forwards for this couple today. They said I love you. Amelia wrote that song for Bennett, and I just personally think that's a very intimate, special thing to do for someone, and that can really show you how you care about another person. And it was kind of very beautiful to get to see that, especially on the heels of them expressing their love for each other. The tarot card reading that Bennett had by his friend was interesting, I guess. Most of it was actually pretty spot on. A few of the moments were, well, like, what's going on? Why is there an angry duck here? I don't know what's happening. But other than that, just a really good week for Amelia and Bennett. Still my favorite couple. Probably a lot of you watching, still your favorite couple as well. But let's move on. Two more couples to get to tonight. First up, let's talk about Karen and Miles. Now that they've kind of slowed things down, it really feels like it's accelerated their relationship. You see how they're looking at each other, their physical touch, all those sorts of little things feels a lot more intimate to me right now versus where we were, say, 2-3 weeks ago. And I'm very interested to see what happens with this couple going forward, because out of all the couples, they're a couple that I kind of have been very much in the maybe for if they're going to make it or not. But they've really had this slow burn in a good way. They're not just taking their time getting to know each other like Henry and Christina in a negative way. They're taking time and really developing their relationship, and I think that could turn out to be a huge positive for them as we approach the end of this season. And with each passing week, I'm starting to get more intrigued about, are they actually going to be able to pull this off and have things work out in the end? Next up, we have Christina and Henry. This felt like a very weird week for them. We didn't seem like we got a lot of time with just Christina and Henry. We did have them kind of going over the vows and everything, but the main moments are Henry having a talk with his friend, Christina having a talk with her friend, and kind of going into the relationship that way. One thing I found very interesting for them was when Christina was with her friend, and her friend is basically just saying, hey, if you want to jump his bones, just go jump his bones. If you want to initiate something, if that's something you need, go initiate it. Like, obviously, at this point, you know who Henry is. You know his personality. You know he's going to move slow. So if these are things you need in the relationship, go get them. You don't just wait for Henry. And, it seemed like Christina was receptive to that. So I'm interested to see if that finally helps Henry and Christina really get over that next hurdle in their relationship, because they have felt like they've been stalled out for quite a while here. And from Henry's side of things, it's really been her behavior towards other people, her rudeness, that he's just not on board with. And for Christina, it's that Henry isn't that aggressive, lead the way kind of guy. And they both have the power to kind of start moving their issues forwards without having to wait for the other person. I think that we have had moments where Henry has started to kind of address things with Christina, but hasn't totally worked. And if those are very important things for him, he has to continue pushing on those topics. And for Christina, If you want to kiss your husband, go and kiss your husband. All right, I think that's going to wrap things up for me tonight. I'm very intrigued to see what's going to happen over the next few weeks. You know, we're now firmly into COVID territory on this season, and just imagine whatever your last relationship was, if you had been together with that person for a month and then all of a sudden you weren't just living together, but you were like in quarantine together, just how much stress that would put on a relationship. I'm quite intrigued to actually be able to witness what all these couples go through and to see how and if they can survive this ordeal together. You know, it's stressful enough just being married at first sight. Adding a pandemic on top of that has to really put things over the edge. The preview for next week looked like we're getting a few more fights between our couples, and we'll have to see how everything plays out. So that's going to wrap things up. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you later.